Hey guys, welcome back to the show. So today what I want to talk about is more on that psychological bit. So we learn new skills, we layer the new skills that we've learned, the new movements, the acrobatic stuff, the nice stuff that we really get a lot of passion for to display to our friends, our colleagues, training together. And sometimes, something happens in our mind and we kind of lose that. So we lose a point of reference of what we were doing, and then we can get all frustrated about it and not be able to do it anymore. So that's the situation that's happening right now, where when I first learned how to backflip, I learned it through the cartwheel and then going into backflip. I learned how to use the momentum as best as I could to channel it and to jump myself. And because I was inherently very much afraid of this movement of throwing myself backwards like a lot of us are, I tried to just focus my mind on those really minute little triggers, meaning that one of the first triggers is just getting into that cartwheel. So as soon as I would start that cartwheel, I would know that if I place my foot a certain way, that it's do or die. So I knew that I had everything aligned to get into it. But so for so many years, I was able to do this movement or this sequence, but I could never do a standing back tuck, which is very funny. Most people will start with the standing and then move into the more sequence dynamic stuff, but I did it backwards. And recently I acquired the standing, and what happened is, if you imagine your brain being almost like a shelf of a bunch of boxes, and when you're talking about sequence of movements, you have these boxes that labeled A, this is my first trigger for the movement, B is the second trigger, so on and so forth. So when standing tuck came in, it couldn't fit there, so what happened to my brain is I had to fudge it in there, and some of the box all got disjointed. And you see this kind of psychological, not disorder, but psychological issues with people that have suffered through traumatic events, both physically or psychologically. For example, you see it in soldiers and PTSD, you see it in people that had very terrifying car crashes or childhood events where there's something that's triggering the event, and then the neuromechanical response is not as clean as it used to be. Or people growing older that suffer from diseases such as Alzheimer or dementia or things like that. Now these examples are on much larger scale than a simple, like I can't do my back tuck like I used to do, but bear with me. The idea or the principle behind that is the same thing. So coming back to language, when you're trying to explain yourself in a new language, you can't say the same thing that you would normally do in English if you're speaking in English, so you have to try and find a way to express that. So your brain is actually looking for ways in the newly acquired language that you're trying to speak to get to that. So in your brain, there are new neural pathways that are making their way to get there. And right now what's happening in my brain is I had a neural pathway to do the cartwheel, tuck, and jump, and now that pathway or that sequence of event is no longer as fluid as it used to be. So it's almost like it's this memory attached by a string, and now the string is kind of fuzzy and I can't get there. So it's not gone forever. What I need to do now is I need to create new strings or new neural pathways to get there. But once I get there, again, I'll have it even better than I used to have it, because now I'll have another path to get there, and it'll be more solid. Kind of like if you learn an acrobatics on one side and you do it on the other side, you express it on the other side, then your neural pathways understands that much better, which secures that expression much better. So more on the psychological side, guys, this week. I hope this helps to keep us a little bit humble when anything happens. Keep on practicing, and if you lose something, it's never really gone, it's still there. You just need to make another path to get there. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next show.